Hey guys, what's going on? Wayne here, welcome back to the channel. So we recently did a video here on machine heads on Toro's latest mini skid steer, the battery-powered eDingo TX750. If you haven't already seen that video, you might want to check it out before you watch this one, unless you're just like more interested in kind of the buggy side of this equation. But here's why. So the reason that I bring up that other machine, that electric mini skid steer, is that the two machines we're going to be talking about in this video, which are Toro's new electric Ultra Buggy E2500 models, these two buggies were actually designed alongside that new electric mini skid steer, the TX750. Not only that, but Toro did extensive customer testing with the eDingo TX750 paired to either one or both of these two new Ultra Buggy E2500 models. So again, the testing, the development, everything, the intention kind of in the design of all three of these machines is that you would use the mini skid steer in tandem with one or both of these new Ultra Buggies. In fact, inside Toro during development, the new TX750 alongside these buggies, this tandem kind of earned affectionate nicknames within the teams, including Dynamic Duo, Peanut Butter and Jelly, you get it, because they complement each other so well. Okay, so introduction aside, let's take a closer look at Toro's new electric Ultra Buggies and find out what makes them unique and uniquely suited for use with Toro's latest electric mini skid steer, the TX750. Let's dig in. Even though both new Ultra Buggy models carry the same E2500 model name, Toro has actually created two different configurations, or even two different models if that's what you want to call them. And both of these different models of Ultra Buggy, E2500 Ultra Buggy, are really aimed at different uses. Now the first that we're going to cover is the Ultra Buggy E2500 THL. Now this is a high lift solution aimed at jobs like demolition, where having a nimble buggy that can get indoors and out before dumping into a 30-yard dumpster will be a common occurrence. Now, as I said before, this is a high lift buggy, and as such, the E2500 THL has an impressive 76-inch hinge pin height, and it can lift 1,250 pounds at that full height. The buggy also features 12.8 cubic feet of total volume. Now, the second model is the Ultra Buggy E2500 TS. Now, this model is really overall a more versatile model. It doesn't have the high lift capability of the THL, but it does support a higher load capacity. You can load this thing up to 2,500 pounds, plus it can swivel that load around, and that's going to make it a more precise material hauler for gravel, sand, and especially concrete pours. It really can't be kind of reiterated enough that this is going to be a great machine for interior concrete pours. The E2500 TS also has a slightly higher volume rating than the high lift model. This has 14 cubic feet of volume compared to the THL's 12.8 cubic feet. Now, as we established kind of in the video on the eDingo TX750 mini skid steer, interior construction and demolition jobs are growing like crazy, especially here in the United States. We're seeing more and more urbanization. We're seeing people flood back to city centers. We're seeing even rural spaces or rural smaller towns and cities. We're seeing a lot of kind of renovation of existing structures. So in addition to the construction of new spaces in a smaller overall space, you're also seeing a lot of jobs that are happening that are renovations of older structures, or are maybe not even full rip outs, but are still requiring, maybe redone plumbing or relaying of certain important infrastructure like internet lines or, anything else that's gonna basically support increased use of digital technology within a structure. So as a result, there are lots of jobs that are requiring interior demolition, and that's where the high lift model comes in. And then also there are lots of jobs that require, interior concrete jobs that require wheelbarrow load after wheelbarrow load to be wheeled into and out of an interior space. And not only does the E2500 TS mean that these jobs require less loads since it has that high capacity 14 cubic feet of volume. It also means that you don't have to do the backbreaking work of slopping mud in and out of a building, potentially with a wheelbarrow. The E2500 TS can load up on concrete, take it through the front door of a building, navigate any hallways that are between that front door and wherever you're taking it, and other tight spaces. It can do all of that with ease, and then it can make a precise pour inside that space right where it's needed. Now, apart from the swivel and high lift differences between the E2500 THL and TS models, the rest of both of these machines are really essentially the same. They both feature a compact 31.5-inch width. That means it's going to be able to get in through those interior spaces really easily. They have a reinforced track system, and they have easy-to-use T-handle controls. Now, as we mentioned before, these are electric machines, and they also boast that same 8-hour runtime rating and Toro Hypercell battery package that you find on the eDingo TX750 mini skid steer. So, like we said, these machines were really developed alongside each other. They share a common battery system, and they are meant to be used together from the beginning of the workday to the end of the workday, so they both have the same kind of 8-hour runtime. And when it comes to charging both of these buggies, it's the same story as it is with the TX750. It's as easy as plugging them up to a 240 volt outlet. They fully recharge in 8 hours, leaving them ready to go for the next workday by the time you arrive for work in the morning. Now, kind of putting all of this together, let's talk a little bit about how well these Ultra Buggies complement their battery-powered counterpart, the eDingo TX750 mini skid steer. Now, for the full recap of the eDingo TX750 from Toro, be sure to check out our other video on that. But as a quick recap, the TX750 is really the big brother of the eDingo 500. Now, the eDingo 500 was Toro's very first electric mini skid steer. It was unveiled back in 2020. As the name suggests, it has 500 pounds of lift capacity. Unlike the TX750, which is a tracked machine, the eDingo 500 is a wheeled machine. So that is the other kind of major difference. Since the introduction of the eDingo 500, lots of interior construction and demolition contractors have really embraced that machine. And as a result, Toro learned a lot just kind of like figuring out how contractors were using that eDingo 500 for interior construction and demolition work. They took those learnings and they basically created what is a more powerful and a more capable interior machine and mini skid steer with this eDingo TX750. So as we said earlier, that eDingo 500 is a wheeled machine. Toro was looking to make this a more reinforced, more powerful, more capable machine, so they put tracks on it. That's kind of the first big difference between these two machines. The reinforcement and the tracks, those were really kind of added in response to seeing the eDingo 500 literally be used to kind of like ram into walls as part of kind of demolition. So Toro was like, okay, cool, you want to do that? So we'll do tracks for, basically more tractive power, but also easier kind of climbing around and getting over any kind of rubble that might result from demolition work. This machine also, as the name suggests, the 750 model number, it's got 50% more lift capacity at 750 pounds, plus it's got 11 gallons per minute of hydraulic flow, so you can attach tools like breakers. And there are two configurations of the eDingo TX750. There's a narrow track version. This is the one that's really aimed at interior applications. It's 31.5 inches wide. It's got a flip-up operator platform, so you can get it through doorways, it can navigate hallways, you can even load it up onto an elevator. It's a very, very nimble and versatile machine that happens to be more capable and more powerful than that eDingo 500. So with that in mind, if you kind of pair this eDingo TX750 with one of these Ultra Buggies, let's just say on an interior demolition job, you're going to be able to roll inside with the TX750, bust down a concrete wall with the power of this machine, swap out the bucket for a breaker or a scraper, tear out a floor, and then from there you can swap into another bucket, load one of the buggies with the TX750, and then in this example maybe we're loading the E2500 THL since we're doing demolition work. And once the E2500 THL is loaded up, it takes off, it navigates through the hallways of the interior space, it heads outside, and then it just dumps everything that you just busted up and out of that interior space. It deposits all of that very easily into a 30-yard dumpster. So yeah, you can see kind of how the pairing of these machines is going to make interior construction and demolition work super, super efficient. And because there's no noise and no emissions, this is a no-brainer in terms of taking inside. The other kind of things to note in terms of how well these Ultra Buggies and the TX750 really complement one another, as we said earlier, these are both built on a common battery platform, that Toro Hypercell lithium-ion battery platform. They've got 8-hour run times, overnight charging, both emissions and noise-free. But you do have the ability, the nice thing with this combination is that you have the ability to kind of tailor the combo of the mini skid and the buggy with your choice of buggy. So you can either, if you know you're doing more demolition work, you can opt for the high lift buggy. If you know you want to do more concrete work, you can opt for the swivel buggy. So all in all, what you have is a really, really compelling tandem of machines here. Being able to choose one or even use both of these new Ultra Buggies with an eDingo TX750, that's just a super compelling combination of machines for a lot of interior contractors. Toro has a great kind of presence through rental houses as well, so there's going to be a lot of opportunity for contractors out there to try out this tandem, maybe get one of the buggies or both of the buggies and try them in tandem with the TX750. And so it'll be really interesting kind of here on out how this kind of changes the demand for these electric mini skids kind of moving forward as we see more and more of the interior work. But for sure, this is going to be a very compelling combination of machines for a lot of interior contractors. All right, guys, well, that's going to wrap things up here for our in-depth look at the Toro Ultra Buggy E2500 THL and E2500 TS. We always appreciate you guys checking out the channel. If you like this video and found it useful in your next machine rental or purchase, do us a favor and hit that like button and subscribe to our channel, Compact Equipment. And look, if you want more information on Toro, or if you want more coverage of compact equipment in general, more tips and tricks and more advice on how to run your next purchase or rental, be sure to check out our website at compactequip.com. Thank you guys so much. We always appreciate the time. If you have any other questions or comments, you know what to do. Leave them in the comments below. Other than that, thanks again for watching. We'll see you in the next one.